Yo friends, Stephanie Weaver here from The Perfect Follow, and today I am super excited because I'm going to teach you everything you need to know to be able to do a super badass spin in place. Now I'll show you in the context of salsa because that's where you get it most commonly, but it applies in any dance that it's given to you. I'm going to go through the technique that you need in every single part of your body. We'll go from the feet up. I'll give you the general guidelines first, and we'll go feet up. Then I'll show you a clip of me spinning to show you how it all comes together. I know it may seem complicated at first, but the way to approach this is to not try to juggle all of the things you're trying to keep track of in your head at once while you're dancing, but rather focus on one piece at a time. You go out dancing, try one night to be totally cognizant of what your feet are doing. Once you nail that, add something else in. You can also, of course, work on this on your own. You can do these spins on your own. Of course, it's a little bit different with a partner, but a lot of the techniques are the same. Okay, so first, in salsa, when you are dancing a basic, say, you're coming back on one, we're dancing on one right now, one, back up on two, and forward on three, right? 1, 2, 3. Now on salsa, it will often be the case that you get a step back on one, forward on two, and then on three, instead of coming forward again with your right foot, you're going to want to prep for a turn to your right. So you go 1, 2, and then on three, you step back, sit on your right leg, hold your left leg in front of you, but don't put any weight on it. It looks something like this. Okay, so we're looking at my feet, and this is my right, the one facing you, and this is my left. So you come back on one, you're forward on two, and instead of stepping forward on three, you come back and prep, and 3, 4. Your weight should be back on this, your back foot. This is just touching here. Now when you're led into the spin with your upper body, what you're going to want to do is snap your front foot here in and around, tighten your legs to touch your back leg. That's it. That's all you do with your feet. Now, ideally, you do the whole spin on one foot, and then you can just hold the other one there next to it. That's a little bit more advanced. You can use both feet, but if you use one foot, you'll be able to stay a little bit more in place. Spinning on 2 feet is totally acceptable, and especially if there's a sticky floor, you might end up needing to switch between your feet a little bit. Now when you're spinning, if you're wearing really high heels like this, then it's not really much to come up off the floor. Come up off your heels. Your legs can be bent a little bit, and there's going to be some weight on your toes. You shouldn't feel too much like you're pressing your toes into the floor, like you're really gripping the floor with your toes in order to stay there. If you have a lot of muscle already working in your upper body, you won't need your toes. I showed you what you do with your feet. You snap your feet together. Your knees can be a little bit bent. You don't need to have them necessarily all that straight. Do what's comfortable for you. So then your hips should be over your feet, right? You don't want to be leaning forward. You don't want to be sticking your butt out. You just want to be straight up over your feet. Your spine, stack it from the very bottom up. You want it to, your vertebrae to go all the way up from the base of your spine. Ideally, you have a straight back when you spin. I have a habit of arching my back a lot because I have this habit. I'm good at holding my back in place. What you need for a good spin is for your back and your torso and your core to be really engaged and not move. So I can do that with an arched back, but it's easier to do it with a straight back for the vast majority of people. And that's my problem to deal with. So have your spine stacked and your core engaged. Your ab muscles are just, it's the most important part of this whole thing because they're what hold the top of your body to your feet. Think of yourself like a metal rod, right? You need to be able to spin all at once. The core is what holds that together. Then you have your frame. We've talked about the frame. And you're here. Now your leader has you here, and you want to have connection in your own body from here to here down under here. This should feel engaged. Your lats, I talked about those before. Connect your arm to your back and your torso and the rest of your body. This should be engaged. You hold this here, in with your core. Hold that as tightly as possible. You can literally practice this. Just sit here and practice this, I swear, okay? It's very important. And then your leader can spin you. Now, if you hold this really well, you don't even have to spot when you spin. Your leader will be able to just keep spinning you round and round, holding this position. Now, you can spot as well. It'll help throw some momentum into the turn. That could help you. And I'm a big proponent of spotting. I think you should do it. But if you're new to it, getting your frame down is very important too. So I have a video also all about spotting, but it's very simple. The basics of spotting are keeping your head looking in one direction while you spin. And you only snap your head once. You don't just like this. I leave my head here. I leave it here. I snap it here. I keep spinning. That's what spotting is. And the only way to get good at it is just to keep practicing it. So you're here, look in a mirror, do it all day long. Just keep on practicing and then do it faster, right? You do it very slowly at first and then faster. Now when the spin is done, what do? You can put your heels down. That's a good way to end a spin, but it can be abrupt and it's not the only thing that can happen. You also need all of your muscles to go with them to sort of clench and stop. If you've ever done hip hop dancing, you know that you can be in a position of floating and then you tense your muscles. And it gives the illusion of a break. This tensing is exactly what you can do to make your body stop turning on a dime. So you're coming around, and if you're spotting, you know when you're going to face your leader again. You know when the stop is coming because of the music or because of a signal you get from your leader. You do this tensing. Another really great way to come out of these spins is to just suspend up. Your leader is giving you good timing. You're coming around easy. Everything's happening on 7 and 8, and you're suspending up, and then you step back on 1. The stepping back just puts you back into the line of salsa. And ideally, you're not taking any steps in this dance unless they happen on the beat anyway. So you shouldn't be taking a step on 8 per se if you're dancing on 1. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 1. So if you're spinning, 1. That's a great way to end a turn as well. It takes a little bit of practice, and you have to be able to sort of one-footed on your left foot. But then you pick up your right foot and you step back on 1. Keep going. Don't fall out of your turn. You're here in your position until 1 when you step back. So that's how you come out of a turn. Now, the stickier the floor, the harder you're going to have to work to make this happen. The tighter your muscles are going to have to be. You might want to throw a little bit of torque into it at the beginning, but again, throwing your own body weight around is very tricky, so be cautious with that. Err on the side of less rather than more. And you may have to switch feet more when the floor is sticky. When the floor is smooth, you could just smooth sailing, just right. For example, right, and so that's what this looks like in practice. You'll see that my feet are together, right? I have my frame here. Whipping around very quickly, step back on 1. So those are the basics you need to know to do a really kick-ass spin. There's not a whole lot else out there. It's just working on perfecting all of these different things. Now there are, of course, other techniques for spinning. There are plenty of techniques for spinning. But this is, I think, probably the most common and the most accessible, and so therefore the most widely applicable for all of us in our dances. And it's how I do mine. So that's spinning. Please let me know if you have any questions. There's another video forthcoming on how to spin traveling, which is super fun, super exciting. So stay tuned, be in touch. Thank you so much. Take care.